Lawrence didn't plan on taking home another cat when she walked into the crowded animal shelter that day. She worked with International Animal Rescue helping animals worldwide, so she knew the sounds, smells, and craziness. But this time felt different. "We have a special room," the worker said carefully. "But I need to tell you, most people can't deal with it." "What do you mean?" Lawrence asked, even though she already had a feeling the answer would hurt. "It's where we put the ones who won't leave here alive." The staff person took her down a thin hallway to a small, separate room that most workers stayed away from because it was too sad to go in. "Are you really sure about this?" the worker whispered. "Once you see them, you can't forget it." "I'm sure," Lawrence said, getting ready for whatever was behind that door. Inside were 13 cats, each sick in different ways, given up on by hope. The air felt heavy with sadness and broken dreams. "Most of these cats have been here for years," the worker said quietly. "People get scared. They think they might get sick too, or they just don't want the pain." In that room of forgotten cats, a tired gray tabby with black stripes on his silver fur, dull coat, and careful eyes right away climbed up her legs and put his paws around her neck in a desperate hug. "Oh my God," Lawrence breathed as tears filled her eyes. "That's Bruiser," the shelter worker said with a heavy breath. "He does that to everyone who's nice to him." "How long has he been here?" she asked, already scared of the answer. 2 whole years in this room. Nobody wants him. He's too old, too sick, and the seizures. Well, he doesn't have much time left." "Seizures?" Lawrence's voice broke. "Has anyone been helping with them?" The worker looked away. "We do what we can, but we don't have much money. Most people just see a dying cat." Right then, something deep inside Lawrence broke and came back together differently. Bruiser pushed his face against hers, purring with a need that showed years of being alone. "I have to go," she whispered, even though everything inside her fought against it. It took 2 people to pull Bruiser off her when it was time to leave. "Please don't leave me," his eyes seemed to say as they took him away. "I can't take a cat with leukemia," she whispered to herself as she walked away. But even as she said it, she knew her heart had already been taken. The worker called after her. "You know, in all my years here, I've never seen him act like that with anyone." From that moment on, she couldn't get away from his haunting eyes. Those trusting, desperate eyes filled her dreams every night, begging her not to leave him like everyone else had. "Mommy, you've been crying again," her youngest child said one morning at breakfast. "I'm okay, sweetheart," she lied, knowing she was far from okay. Her husband noticed too. "You've been different since you went to that shelter. What happened there?" "There was this cat." She started, then stopped. How could she explain the strange connection she felt? After weeks of not sleeping, she couldn't take it anymore. "Can I take him as my office cat?" she begged her husband one evening, her voice shaking with hope and desperation. "Absolutely not," he said firmly. "We already have pets, and you said yourself he's sick." "But he's dying alone in that room," she cried. "Nobody cares about him." "That's not our problem, Lawrence. We can't save every animal in the world. But love makes fighters of us all." The next morning, her hands shaking, she called the shelter anyway. "Put him on the next ride." "Are you sure?" the worker asked, surprised. "It's been weeks since you were here." "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," she said. "If I'm going to end up divorced," she thought desperately as she hung up the phone, "I might as well leave my husband for someone as good-looking as Bruiser." When she told her children, they had different reactions. "Another cat?" her oldest complained. "Is he going to die?" her middle child asked with the harsh honesty of kids. "Maybe," Lawrence admitted, "but he deserves to know love before he goes." The long 6-hour trip to get him felt like traveling through forever. What if he doesn't remember me? She worried out loud during the drive. But when Bruiser arrived, despite her hopes, Lawrence still held on to false hope. Maybe the tests were wrong, she told herself. Maybe it's not as bad as they think. She rushed him straight to the vet, praying he would test clean. I need you to run every test, she told the vet. I need to know exactly what we're dealing with. The results came back like a double death sentence. Not only feline leukemia, but FIV as well. The two things you never want your cat to have. He's double positive, the vet said grimly, taking off his glasses to clean them, a nervous habit Lawrence would learn to recognize. What does that mean exactly? She asked, though she was afraid she already knew. It means his body's defense system is badly damaged. He's fighting battles on multiple sides. How long? The question hung in the air like a death sentence. 2 months, maybe 3 if we're lucky. Within days, Bruiser began crying out and falling down. Something's wrong, Lawrence called the vet frantically. He's falling over and making awful sounds. Bring him in right now, came the urgent reply. Lawrence's heart sank. She was sure he was dying right in front of her. Please don't let him suffer, she whispered during the scary car ride. Please let me get him there in time. The diagnosis showed the cruel truth. Severe epilepsy that had hurt him for years in that lonely room, unnoticed, untreated, ignored. Doctor, are you telling me he's been having seizures in that cage for years without anyone caring? She whispered through her tears. I'm afraid so, the vet replied sadly. These don't develop overnight. I would have done anything to make him comfortable, but I also promised I would never let him suffer, she promised with fierce determination. Her husband was less understanding. This is exactly what I was afraid of, he said when she explained the growing medical bills. We're going to go broke keeping a dying cat alive. He's not just a dying cat, she shot back. He's family now. But Lawrence, a mother of 3 who had fought her own battles with postpartum depression and dedicated her life to saving animals across the globe, refused to give up. We're going to fight this, she told Bruiser, petting his fragile head. You and me, together. The treatment plan was intense. Phenobarbital twice daily to control the violent seizures. Will you be able to give him pills twice a day, every day? The vet asked. Whatever it takes, she replied without hesitation. Visits to the vet every 2 weeks for B12 shots and weight checks became their routine. A special diet and probiotics to heal his damaged digestive system. He had been leaving Hershey Kisses all over the house. This is disgusting, her husband complained. The whole house smells. He can't help it, Lawrence defended him. His body is healing. It took patience, love, and gallons of carpet cleaner. But slowly, Bruiser's health got better. Through it all, Bruiser remained the most loving, affectionate soul she had ever known. Mom, why does Bruiser follow you everywhere? Her daughter asked one day. Because he knows I won't give up on him, she answered, realizing the truth as she said it. He refused to be just an office cat. He demanded to be a full member of the family. He sits at the dinner table like he's people, her son laughed. It's like he's been waiting his whole life to be part of a real family. They divided their entire house so Bruiser could have the upstairs, the living room, and an outdoor area, because he hated other cats after years of suffering. This is insane, her husband muttered. We're reorganizing our entire lives around a sick cat. He deserves his own space, Lawrence replied firmly. After what he's been through, he's earned it. Each morning, she woke, wondering if this would be his last breath, but Bruiser's spirit burned brighter than death itself. Good morning, my beautiful boy, she would whisper. checking to see if his chest was still rising and falling. "Morning, Mama," she imagined he would say back, if cats could talk. 2 months turned into 6 impossible months. "I can't believe he's still here," the vet admitted during a checkup, shaking his head in amazement. "His will to live is extraordinary." "But doctor, how is this possible?" Lawrence asked, hardly daring to hope. "You said 2 months, maybe 3. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. We sometimes see this happen with animals who discover their reason for being," the vet said, amazed as he checked Bruiser's health signs. Living in the shelter was slowly killing him, but now he has something to live for. Look at his blood tests. His infection-fighting cells are still weak, but they're not getting worse. The fits are under control. The doctor stopped, looking at the medical charts. "In my 3 decades as a vet, I've seen that wanting to live can beat what doctors expect. Bruiser isn't just staying alive, he's getting better because he finally feels loved. So, he might live longer than we expected? Let's go day by day," the vet said with a careful smile. "But whatever you're doing, don't stop. This cat is showing us that amazing things can happen." 6 months turned into an amazing year. "Doctor, is this okay?" Lawrence wondered during their usual visit, watching Bruiser purr happily on the exam table. "Should I worry that he's doing so well?" The vet chuckled. "Worried about good things? Lawrence, this is what we call the special case that breaks all the rules. Medical books tell us about what usually happens, but they can't explain love, good food, a calm home, and steady medical help. Bruiser has all of these." He looked at Bruiser's gums. "See this healthy pink? 6 months ago, these were ghostly white. His body was giving up. Now look, bright eyes, shiny fur, good weight, but the blood cancer, the immune disease. They're still here," he said truthfully, "but his body's defenses have found their balance. Most importantly, he's not struggling to survive anymore. He's living because he's happy." The vet sat down, picking his words carefully. "I've watched animals lose hope and die days after hearing they're dying. I've also watched them live years longer than we thought they could. The difference? Usually, it's love and having a reason to keep going. You really believe that's what's keeping him alive?" "I believe," the vet said, watching Bruiser rub against Lawrence's hand, "that you rescued each other. And that kind of connection, well, it can create wonders." 1 year beat all medical knowledge and became 4 amazing years. By the 2nd year, the vet team started calling Bruiser the Wonder Cat. "His story is going in medical magazines," the vet told Lawrence with excitement. "We want to learn what helped him live so long." The doctor took out Bruiser's thick medical folder. Taking him away from constant worry let his body's defenses stop fighting so many battles. The regular medicine kept his seizures controlled. The special food fixed his stomach problems. "And the emotional part," he went on, "might be the most important. This cat went from thinking he was unwanted and dying to knowing he was loved and had a job to do. That change affects everything from his hormones to how well his body fights illness." By the 3rd year, vet students came to watch Bruiser's checkups. "This shows us complete care," the teacher explained. "See how surroundings, medical treatment, and emotional health work together to create results that go against what we first expected." In the 4th year, the impossible became their everyday life. "Honestly," the vet admitted during what nobody knew would be one of Bruiser's last visits, "I stopped being shocked by how strong he is around year 2. Now, I just admire it. The sicknesses are still there. That hasn't changed, but his body learned to live with them. Think of it this way. Instead of fighting a battle, His body's defenses learned to keep a calm agreement. The vet smiled sadly. Of course, peaceful agreements don't last forever. Eventually, age and sickness will win, but Lawrence, you gave him 4 years of happiness instead of 2 months of sadness. That's not just medical, that's a miracle. He kept going, his spirit refusing to give in to the diseases attacking his body. "You're a miracle cat," she would say to him every day. "My little miracle." But here's the surprise that nobody expected. It was Lawrence who had been saved all along. During her hardest fights with crushing worry and sadness, injuries that had first destroyed her 3 months after her second baby was born, leaving her lost for over a year and a half before she found the strength to get help, Bruiser would curl up against her shaking body, his gentle purring like a rope pulling her back from the darkness. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she would whisper into his fur during her worst times. Here was a cat who had been let down by people over and over, yet still chose to give endless love. "He rescues me every day," she told her mother on the phone. "I thought I was rescuing him, but it's the other way around." When his last days came and his broken body couldn't fight anymore, Lawrence stayed by his side until his final heartbeat. "It's okay, baby," she whispered, tears running down her face. "You can rest now. You've been so brave." Right before he left forever, he reached out one last time and softly touched her wet face. "I love you too," she whispered. "Thank you for picking me." In her sadness, she made a simple TikTok video to remember their wonderful times together. "I just want people to know how amazing he was," she said through her tears. The video spread across the internet. Over 10.4 million views and 20,000 comments overnight. "The whole world is crying with me," she told her family in disbelief. People everywhere fell in love with Bruiser's story. They ran to local shelters to adopt cats who had been waiting the longest. "Because of Bruiser, I adopted a cat with the virus," one person wrote. They named their new cats Bruiser to honor him. His impact spread like fire around the world. "This isn't just about one forgotten cat," she wrote in another post. "This is about giving hope to those that everyone else thinks are beyond help." When asked what she would say to Bruiser, she cried, "Thank you. He was the best gift." Every animal deserves what Bruiser had, she would tell anyone who would listen. "They won't be with us forever," Lawrence says, "but in the time they have, they give us more love than we ever thought possible." Did this story touch your heart? If you came across a sick and unwanted cat at a shelter, one everyone had given up on, would you turn away or give him a second chance? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Sometimes it's the most broken souls that show the deepest love. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day.